recently, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, let's say, has fueled the energy crisis, and it seems that it has never been more intertwined than it has been recently, Mr. Choeib Boutamine. And since we're speaking about energy, perhaps you could shed some light on how these issues are interrelated, speaking about climate change, speaking about food insecurity and energy crisis, causing perhaps both.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I believe the world has reached today to a closed corridor. This is the result of, I think it's a failure of the unipolar system. We see the result now. We have money crisis, we have political problems, we have food crisis, we have energy crisis.
Absolutely.
I think that the world leaders, let's say the G7, they didn't manage, they didn't plan ahead good the future of the globe.
Yeah.
And one of them, I think, is the energy issue. Yeah. I think that the European Union, I believe, they were not really aware about what would happen in the future. And they didn't give more importance to Russia. And today, I think, they know that they acknowledge that the impact of the energy crisis has been really come directly from Russia. And today, all the world, they know what means Russia in kind of energy and even for food.
Yeah.
As we have seen last summer, we have seen a drought, we have seen climate change, we have seen prices of natural gas spiking, we have seen oil also, and the coal is. This is a very complex situation the world is living today in kind of energy. And the impact is not really locally in Europe. The impact is spreading to Asia, to Africa, and to the United States also. So the energy problem today is the focal point of all the world leaders. They are looking to find a solution. I think the solution can be done, but not in a very short time. The winter is coming. I believe if the world, or if Europe will leave very chilly weather, very cold weather, I think will be difficult situation in Europe. In all, we talk about supply disruption, problems of flowing natural gas and oil from many nations, and they think that Europe will pay the bill very expensive. On the other hand, we talk a lot about the alternatives of Europe. I wanted to highlight today, let me shed the light of the alternatives of Russia. I believe that Russia has more alternatives in kind of energy compared to Europe. Russia has its neighbor to China, one of the biggest economies in the world, consuming oil and gas, consuming coal, so it's a good client for Russia. Russia has Siberia 1 pipe flowing gas from Russia to China. And in the last meeting with President Putin and the Chinese president, they decided maybe to launch the second Power Siberia 2. Both of them, they will transport 55 billion cubic meters of gas. So we talk about the alternatives of Russia. I believe it has more alternatives in kind of energy compared to the Europe.
Very nice. Since Dr. Hamoud Salhi mentioned earlier, Mr. Choeib Boutamine, the Shanghai Organization, how do you see this organization economically speaking? And maybe we can bring up the organization of the BRICS into the discussion as an alternative for these, let's say, traditional allies of Russia to actually save itself from the crumbling world economy, maybe at least to cushion some of the repercussions that we are seeing globally having a big toll on the Western economy. And when we say Western economy, of course, we say global economy in general. So is this, let's say, going to be a strong regional power when we speak about the BRICS, when we speak about the Shanghai Organization, or maybe it's something going to be a little, let's say, insignificant in comparison to what the West have built, I mean, economically speaking?
Yeah, for sure. The SCU, the Shanghai meeting, the SCU and the BRICS are the rivals of the G7 and the European Union. If we compare the European Union, it's a geographic location and many countries are inside. If we compare it also to SCU, it includes China, India and Russia. And three countries big three countries, are also members of the BRICS. So the BRICS has more dimension. It has BRICS, it has Brazil inside. So it's multi-continental bloc. And the SCO is a regional, it's Asian bloc. So we can compare it to the European Union and the other to G7. I think that the SCO at this moment, it's time, and both China and Russia, they acknowledge that it's time to tighten their relationship. Because in the SCO, they have 25% of the global GDP in the SCO. Similar 25-30% in the BRICS. It's home to 40% of the global humanity price of power, electricity, for rental, transportation, the fuel, everything expensive. If we see now to the China and Russia inside the SCO, the Shanghai, the meeting, I will talk about it now, they have less power compared, because Russia is selling its gas and oil to China and India with discounted values. And this will enforce their economies and do it open window for these economies to grow up and to ramp up in a very short time. I believe in the future, both BRICS and SCO will be vital rivals for the G7 and for European Union, because they have all the means of development. They have a good workforce, and they have a cheap prices, cheap energy prices. And I think this is very high value for the economy. In the future, I believe, if we take also Brazil also is very big nation in American continent, and has a very developing economy compared to Europe at the moment. So all of these countries, including we have China, we have South Africa, you have India, all these nations will participate to create an imbalance between the West and the Western, the West and the Eastern countries. I think that with these conditions, actually, European Union is going to a crunch, economical crunch in the future, especially if the European Union members, if they will leave a critical situation in kind of energy, if they will have a very cold winter, I think that will be a very big issue inside Europe. And those blocks, BRICS and also SCO, will be a good alternative for the humanity, and maybe will be created another polar. We are talking about unipolar now, but maybe will be 2 or 3 polars in the future. And this is very good to create maybe justice for the humanity and to run the economy where to.
Speaking once upon a time about the Maghreb Union and the Arab, let's say, countries to come together and perhaps constitute, let's say, a strong economy, but then there is a lot of division inside the Arab world, and we see that at least 2 countries cannot actually get along, and we see how successful the Gulf Council actually was. I mean, why don't we see, for example, Arab world just coming all together and constituting, let's say, a strong economy? What is the potential of that? How likely can that be done, Mr.?
I believe that the upcoming summit of the Arab League, which will be held in Algeria on the 1st and the 2nd November, will be a new launch, will give a new launch to interrelations between the Arab League members. I think that the Arabs, let's say the Arab League, did a very good role in 16 and 17, but later on we have seen some divergency and among also the Gulf countries. But I think this time, this summit in Algeria is particular. There is a world crisis of energy. And among these countries, Algeria, Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, very huge big producer of natural gas and oil in the world. And I think they have a major role to play in the planet. Algeria, I think with Libya in North Africa, they can add the value to the European market. There is a shortage of energy. There is some issues, I think, inside the Arab League members, maybe political issues, I believe. But from the economical side, we have to sit down, I think, and we have to plan ahead of the future, of our future. Because something is very good in Arab League is that there are two continents, Asia and Africa. Africa is very close to European markets in kind of energy, and Asia, Saudi Arabia and all the Gulf countries, they can cover the Asian market and the promising market of, let's say, Indonesia, China, and other countries. So the Arab League, if we see the map, it's covering a good area of the map, and we can tie very good economic relation, and we can, I think in my side, we can ramp up our production of oil and gas in the future. We can play a very important role in this crisis, and I believe that what's living in Europe today, they have issue of energy, and the main concern for them is to find alternatives. I think that the Arab League can play a very important role in this way, and we can unify our decisions, unify our commitments, engagement, and we can take something more important, and we don't give up just to diversify our work, our task inside the Arab League, and I think this is a valuable opportunity for Algeria and for all the Arabs to cooperate more and show to the world that the Arabs can add a value, and they show their presence in this map, in this globe, and instead to blame them for increasing the oil prices, maybe they will help more the market by injecting more